Hey everybody, this is Perch. Um, I've been thinking about doing a video set on like how to fix teams. But the problem is when I say when you start a topic with like how to fix, it generally is sending a message like it's broken and you need to fix it. And for some of you, you may be like, yeah, it is broken. But I don't really want to start there because the idea, I guess what I'm trying to tap into is once upon a time, you'd be in a comic shop and a bunch of people would be standing around the register and you'd be just, shooting the shit. You'd be talking about random things and people would have ideas. In wrestling, they would call this fantasy booking. You can use the same term for comics as well. Maybe that's be the right thing. But the challenge is you'd say something like, here's how I would fix the Titans, but it didn't have the baggage. It wasn't like you were saying, like, the Titans is so screwed up that I have to come in and fix it. But given kind of how the fandom is now, how comics is now, how, all of the dialogue is now, it there's a lot of weight behind the statement, here's how I would fix something. It isn't just this kind of innocent standing around a comic shop, having a conversation, talking about how you'd make the perfect Justice League team or whatever it happened to be. So anyway, I want to do this series of how to fix a character or a team with some ideas of here's what I would do to make the title top selling. And I could also just say like, here's some ideas that would be really fun to explore with the Titans. But that's a really long ass title, So I don't know. I'm struggling with this a little bit. But the purpose of this video, as you probably saw from the thumbnail and the title, is here's what I would do for the Titans. Okay, so the Titans is a superhero team for DC, been around for a long time. For a period of time, the Titans was outselling the Justice League. It was one of the hottest titles. It was sitting there with the X-Men, and it was a big deal comic. The Titans, unlike the X-Men, the Titans was, well, I guess I'll take a step back. If I'm comparing it to Marvel for a moment, back in the 80s and the 70s, the X-Men was the secondary title. Like the big things were happening in the Avengers. That was where the big time characters were. And the X-Men were kind of the scrappy coming up team, except the X-Men started selling really, really well. And then it was a juggernaut title in and of itself. And pretty soon it was like the Avengers were needing to copy the X-Men. And it was, clearly the X-Men were running, Marvel. If you wanted to pop sales in a comic, whether it's Power Pack or Cloak and Dagger or anything, you would be like guest starring Wolverine, guest starring the X-Men. You could put in almost any X-Men character and it would pop sales. So the Titans didn't really get there. It did sell well for sure, but DC never took the step of really committing to the idea that the Titans were going to be better selling than the Justice League or than Superman and Batman. Right? It was always kind of viewed as a secondary title, even when it was a top selling title. And so, when it comes to like, how would you fix the Titans or what would you do for the Titans? I start there. The first step is I want to make the Titans feel like a destination book. It is a book that people want to read. It's a book that is more important than the other books. Like I need it to have some swagger. I need it to feel like the X-Men did in the 90s, which is, hey, the rest of the universe revolves around us. Whether it does or it doesn't, whether you're there or not, I need you to, fake it before you make it? I need the Titans to show up that way. So I need the Titans to let go of all of the baggage of being a secondary team. It's not the tryout team for the Justice League. We shouldn't be having writers who are doing panels with like, one day I'll be a real hero, or, the Justice League solving real crime and we're going to go on patrol in Keystone City and, stop petty crime. Like, I think there's some writers, Tom Taylor's one of them, who will say things like, I really want to do a storyline where, we're solving more problems that, you and me, like, real people would solve. Like, why do we have these superhero teams just going up against, characters from other dimensions and, Bizarro and a brain on a robot or, Moolah or any of that kind of stuff. Why fight Deathstroke when you've got homelessness? Why don't the Titans say, you know what, we're going to solve homelessness? It's a noble idea on paper, but it doesn't make for a very exciting comic. And if you want the Titans to be seen as a big deal, if they're solving homelessness or the housing crisis or petty crime in the middle of the city, without saying it, you're saying, yeah, Sinestro's got a bunch of yellow lanterns. They're gonna, f up the Earth, and Starro is like taking over part of the galaxy here. We got Brainiac is, enslaving humanity. We're gonna fight petty crime and homelessness. The Justice League will take care of the big problems. We're gonna solve the little problems. I understand that the logic is that you want the Titans solving more down to earth problems that it was the same thing that Mark Waid did for the Champions back in Marvel. It's like, we're going to take care of problems that regular people solve. Yeah, or regular people need solved. Sounds great. It's not very cinematic. It doesn't build these characters up of being kind of larger life. At the end of the day, it is a superhero book. And so you need the characters doing things that are going to be big time moments, fighting big time threats. Like, it's a cliche, and you don't do this every single issue, but every now and then you need the team that you're trying to get big sales on to solve a problem like the Earth is about to blow up, be tossed into another dimension. People are going to be turned into black energy lantern vampires and, rot in a undead universe. Like, you need that. Like, the stakes have never been this high before. So that's the first thing I would do is I'd have the title start acting that way. We are not second fiddle to the Justice League. We are perfectly capable to solve the same big time problems. A good selling comic does have drama. You can certainly explore the Beast Boy loves Starfire or Raven maybe, or Starfire loves Robin and Nightwing, and then there's a triangle with Speedy. Whatever you got to do, or Donna Troy's involved somehow. You could do that kind of stuff, and that stuff works. But you do have to have the team showing up like, hey, if I was writing this title, I would have the first issue be a little bit like Joss Whedon's first issue of Astonishing X-Men. The characters should be there like, we got powers and we could do pretty much anything. And we are actually going to solve, major problems. Like, tired of Zod showing up and trying to take over the Earth from time to time. Like, we're going to actually go solve big problems because we are powerful enough to solve big problems. And I would lean into the, with Nightwing, it's like, yeah, I don't have superpowers, but what I do have is, I wouldn't lean into the athletic ability. That you just get a show. Do some cool moments where he could be a super spy, lean into the Grayson side of his personality when he was a spy. But I would lean hard into the, he is a master tactician. You've got basically James Bond plus, he knows how to solve things. He can make the plan. And then you lean into Raven is, a interdimensional magic user who can pretty much do anything with her powers. She is the heavy. You've got Beast Boy, who you could evolve a little bit to, first of all, you wouldn't want to call him Beast, that's too close to the X-Men, but just try and remove any references to less than. So the Beast Boy, the boy part of his name doesn't help. But if you want to, you can keep calling him that, but you should level up his power set, meaning, I can do a lot of different things. I'm going to show my powers being really cool, of using stealth to get into things, using a small animal, and then maybe using something really powerful and hulking to just be a heavyweight. Cyborg, again, if you give me the plan, I can hack into anything. I can get a whole legion of computers and drones and other things to help out. Starfire, you have the, up her power set a little bit. Just, you can fly, you can shoot energy beams. Why not? You can you need to make these characters do big time dangerous things. I think if you were to make a comic of, I would draw some inspiration from a couple different things. I might also draw some inspiration from the Authority. I don't want them to have that personality type. I'm just when the Authority came out as a comic book, one of the things they did really well, it's like this team was serious. They were, you had a couple scenes. That scene where the Authority, I think this was a Mike Miller part. Mike Miller, Mark Miller. Mike Miller is an entirely different person. Mark Miller. You have this scene where the Authority goes up against another superhero team that's loosely patterned off of the Avengers, and the Authority just F's them up. And you need a couple of those moments for the Titans. You need them to come in and roll some smaller guys and be like, you know what, we're not effing around anymore. We are actually going to, save the world. We have powers. We have the authority, no pun intended, to do this kind of stuff. Give them some big time adventures. Put them in a situation. I almost would have the Titans. I would put them on a winning streak where they're actually solving some major problems. Going after some of the, the Injustice League or just some of these teams, and really making some progress. And I would put Deathstroke, because I understand they made him kind of a villain, but also kind of a hero, not an anti-hero kind of character. Put him in a position where he's on his back foot a little bit. The Titans were actually starting to out strategize him, and he's going to have to figure out a way to do what he needs to do. But the Titans have his number, and I would kind of in many comics, you want to have the villains kind of get the better of the heroes for a while, so you got to build up the tension. If I was writing the Titans, I'd almost do the exact opposite. I'd have the heroes gain the better of the villains and build up this kind of seeping thread of, maybe Deathstroke's involved in a lot of these plans that the Titans keep foiling. And so Deathstroke is getting more and more desperate to actually do something major against the Titans. And then you get to, go into some of the storylines in the past. That's what I would do. But I think the key is be serious, start serious, put the Titans in with some major DC heavyweights, avoid any kind of down-to-earth street level, like the readers will identify with this. No, go the opposite. I don't want the Titans going off to Oa to fight like cosmic threats. Don't send the Titans up against Darkseid, but you can send the Titans up against, hell, have a storyline arc where the Titans go up against Brainiac, and that gives you it gives something for Cyborg to do in a more major way, and you get some threats, and you let them beat some major villains and level them up, and then take it from there. That's what I would do with the Titans. So, question being, you are in charge of the Teen Titans or the Titans from DC. What are you doing to make that comic a 100,000 copy a month seller? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that fun stuff you're supposed to say on YouTube at the beginning of the video and at the end. And thanks for listening.